A teenage farm girl walked into the court of France and told the generals where to march. She could not read. She had never held a sword. And yet, within months, she had turned the tide of a war that seasoned commanders had been losing for decades. The question is not how. The question is, what was she listening to that they could not hear?
The Bhagavad Gita speaks of a moment when the warrior Arjuna stands between two armies, his bow trembling, his heart failing him. Krishna does not give him a battle plan. He gives him something older. He tells Arjuna that the soul which acts from its deepest nature without grasping at outcome, without shrinking from duty, becomes an instrument of something larger than itself. The Stoics call this alignment with the Logos, the ordering principle beneath all things. The Buddhists called it acting from clarity rather than from fear. Joan of Arc was born into a France fractured by war, her village on the edge of ruin. She was perhaps 17 when she presented herself to the French court, claiming she had heard voices, divine voices, instructing her to lead an army, to lift the siege of a city called Orléans. The generals laughed. Then they ran out of other options. She rode into battle not with the cold calculation of a strategist, but with a certainty that seemed to come from somewhere beneath thought. Soldiers who had grown numb to defeat found themselves willing to charge again. She was burned at 19, condemned by a court that feared what it could not explain. But the city had already been freed. 3 things live in her story. First, inner clarity can move through a person the way wind moves through an open window. It does not ask for credentials. Second, the generals had more experience, more knowledge, and less courage, because courage is not the absence of fear. It is acting from something truer than fear. Third, the world often burns what it cannot categorize. That is not a reason to go silent. It is a reason to speak before the moment passes. You do not need a battlefield, but you may have a door you have been standing outside of, waiting for permission that will never come. The practice is this: sit quietly for 5 minutes. Ask not what you want, but what you already know. The answer that arrives without argument, the one that feels like recognition rather than decision, that is the voice worth following. If this brought you a moment of stillness, subscribe and walk this path with us. She could not read a single word, but she heard the one thing no general's education could teach, that sometimes the clearest instruction comes not from the mind, but from the silence beneath it.